So next up is my brother Peter Brooks. You've seen him at powwows, you've seen him in the papers, you've seen him at the protest. He is the grandson of Blanche and Cab Calloway, somebody you might have heard of before, affiliated with Piscataway Conoy tribe. Our brother, cousin, family member, Peter Brooks.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. I'd first like to thank the organizers of today's event. Isn't this fabulous? Tommy, Indigenous Strong, superb job. I also have to thank this fine drumming and dancing that you've seen here today. Nick, Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you. Awesome. All of the speakers and all of the people who help keep Indigenous life alive here in Baltimore. You know who you are, and you are some of the most beautiful people I have ever come to know, and I thank you all. I've come here today to speak on behalf of my family, my grandmothers, and my grandfathers. And I hope that I speak to you in a good way and in a way that touches your heart, that goes from your ear to your heart, so that you may come from here and advocate for us in the larger society. And I've come to ask you just a question. All of you slept in a house or an apartment or a condominium last night, if you could eat after eating all that food, if you could sleep, all right? If I came to your place of rest and brought all of my family members and all of my cousins and all of my friends, and I even brought people that I owned, and forced you to live in the basement, don't you think at some point after all this time I would invite you up and say thank you? I moved into your place. It was in immaculate condition, perfect for me to use, and I used it. And there's no going back now. The wars are over. Chief Joseph has said, I will fight no more forever. Invite us up from the basement. I don't know if anyone has ever had to remodel a house, but when you take down a wall, wouldn't you have been grateful to have the person who was there when the house was built, the one who designed it, present to help you and tell you what's behind the wall, where the hidden things are in the house that you live in? All of this land, every place that you have gone to school, that you have rested, and that you've worked, and indeed your final resting place will be in our land, Piscataway land. Thank you. And where can you go where you don't have to pay rent? Where can you live? Everybody expects something. And all we're saying is say it one day, just to say thank you. And it's not a black thing or a red thing or a yellow thing or a white thing. It's a thing about what's right and what's wrong. It's as simple as that. You know it's wrong. And here's the problem. It's not just a day to recognize us. We're really talking about the soul of this nation. Because as long as we say that Columbus discovered America, we are living and perpetuating a lie. Who wants to deal with people who perpetuate lies? We can't continue to do that. We know it's wrong, and we don't want to live with that burden, so let it go. And to my Italian American brothers and sisters, for truly, in our way, we are all related. We have no qualm with you at all at this point. Seriously. But to my Italian brothers, I just want to say this, and sisters. I know that there was a time when your people lived in an occupied, your land was occupied, Italy was occupied. Your people were slaves. The Italians were slaves to the Etruscans. The Romans overthrew the Etruscans and later became the Italians. But if you go to Italy today, you don't see anybody celebrating the Etruscans. There's no monument to the Etruscans because they were occupied. So by the same token, how can you expect us to celebrate being occupied? And notice, if we did a statue to the Etruscans, no Italians would care, because they're not around anymore. But guess what, my Italian brothers and sisters? We're still here. We're not Etruscans. We're still here. And we have gifts and wisdom and knowledge and good things to give you. And all I want to say to the president of the city council, Mr. Brandon Scott, who may very well be our mayor, Mr. Scott, unlike a lot of other people that you've had to work with while you're in city council, I know that you know the difference between right and wrong. And Mr. Scott, I'm asking you and the mayor to do what is right. Clear your conscience. Make this a good place for all of our people. Let us not celebrate Columbus Day, Mr. President. Let us celebrate the gifts, the wisdom, the wealth that the Native people have given to the people of the United States of America. It's time to say thank you and say thank